location, and this of course is where we're located. We're about 2 counties down south, on the Bell County border. So if you come down the area, that's where we're located. We're a Title I school, of course, and there's about 1,000 students. I'm going to abbreviate my presentation just a little bit because we do have a couple of good treats for you. A couple of students have agreed to share some of their podcasts and some items about it. So I will kind of put out a couple things just so that they can have extra time to do the great whoever's working.
I didn't notice this shirt.
This is the original plan, of course. We got the mini grant to use tablets to make Skype phone calls to Spanish-speaking countries. We still make Skype phone calls to Spanish-speaking countries or Google Hangouts to those. And we're originally going to use those to measure how that increased their willingness to communicate and so forth, how it helped and so forth. The goal was to increase those and see how that would improve those willingness to communicate. We made a modification of it because the tablets, as great as they were, they purchased tablets and they were kind of small. They were not as helpful as we would like because in the classroom it was really hard for the students to use those and have connectivity issues and so forth. The good thing is we received a surprise email from Mr. Christopher Epling, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with him or not, but he's with Epling Illustrations and KDEC as well, and he actually came to our school and showed us how to do podcasts and showed the students how to do those and so forth. So we're able to turn around what we planned to do to actually use the podcast for something more productive in a particular scenario. So he came down and we were able to use those podcasts actually to use what we already planned in Spanish too. The regular speaking prompts or culture prompts and the different items related to it. And this of course started last fall. We planned to complete around January or so. But February is more or less when we finished up because of rain, snow, and some air conditioner issues at the high school. So there's always a few little issues here and there. And the outcomes, of course, like I said, we didn't get to use them as much as we wanted to for the Skype phone calls and Google Hangouts simply because the tablets, the speaker, and the microphone, of course, did not work as well. But we did use, of course, the tablets for like the podcast and use those in the last part of the second trimester to let the students actually create little presentations where they actually had conversations with their classmates and so forth. And they were able to show those around to their classmates and really have a great success out of that. Many students even opted to complete the verbal portions of their final exams because they do have to do a verbal portion on the final exam related to culture and so forth. So they use the actual Anchor app for that. And some of the outcomes that we had, some of them actually said that it was really easy to use and they haven't really used these programs previously. Another student said that they really enjoyed trying and tying this right into the assignment because of the period. So they had a lot of really good outcomes. There's a few that, as kids, sometimes they'll say, it's so much work, or, why do we have to do this, of course? And that sometimes happens. But the best success, of course, was when we actually looked at their speaking ratings, and they actually reached kind of like the intermediate low level on the actual proficiency scale. And if you're familiar with those scales, that's actually really good for Spanish 2 level students. So, and some of the possible reasons, of course, would be that they had less anxiety, smaller setting using those for those little podcasts. But it could be also it's a more individualized setting with their friends. So there's a few different possibilities as to why that might be. And some limitations that we had, of course, were the tablets when we actually made the phone calls with them, they couldn't really be understood too well. The school closings, we had the charging of them, and some other limitations that was previously mentioned. But the positive outcomes, like I mentioned earlier, is they had unexpected rates, higher rates of language proficiency, which is what we kind of wanted the first time around. And they actually had students taking ownership of their own learning, which is very important. As you know, student ownership of the learning, when they actually invested in that learning, is really what we're trying to shoot for as teachers. And they found a new way for students to integrate technology to really help them achieve the learning outcomes. They would do simple, regular prompts as, telling about their community and so forth in Spanish, and they were actually able to tie that down and make it into a conversation with a friend that they could take with them beyond high school, not just in high school itself. And there's some that they actually used to create about their local community in Harlan County. They talked about it in one of their speaking prompts about Harlan County, all the different ways, the locations, tourist attractions, and so forth. And they actually made a podcast about those too. So they did a really amazing job. The students really did a great job with that. I really thank Mr. Epley for all of his hard work at this as well. I'm going to let you guys, now I'm going to pass it over to you and let them kind of pass over, because like I said, I didn't want to go too far, and I think we are into someone's PowerPoint, but I'll go ahead and let you guys now introduce my students to let them tell you more about it, and I think they're maybe going to share some of the podcasts they did. This, of course, is Charles McKinley Bradley. He's a sophomore at Harlan County High School. And this, of course, is Edmund Dye, and he's also a sophomore at Harlan County High School. Both are students in Spanish 2. They did the podcast in Spanish 2B. We're right now into our third trimester, but they did this at the end of second trimester. So I'll let them talk to you briefly here, and they'll share their items with you.
Hey guys, my name is McKinley Bradley, and I'm a sophomore at Harlan County High School. We partnered with Christopher Epley to produce the podcast. The podcast allowed us to produce technology that we've never been exposed to before, how to produce a podcast. Without the grant to purchase the tablets, we would have never been able to complete the project. We would incorporate our podcast in everyday assignments such as interpretive listening assignments, culture day assignments, and our final exam for Spanish 2B. We had a verbal portion where we would incorporate what we learned about podcasts and produce a podcast based on the topic presented to us. I'm now going to turn it over to my fellow classmate, Edmund Dye, to show you an example of the podcast.
Hello everyone, my name is Emmanuel, and this is going to be one of the podcasts that I made. It is in Spanish, so don't worry if you don't speak the language. That's one of the intro outro music things. McKinley's going to show you one of his podcasts now. I think this comes from the final exam.
I'm going to show you one about Dia de los Muertos, and it's also in Spanish.
I actually rarely remember this project to go through. It's Spanish too. I would do projects versus the perspective short over in Dia de los Muertos. Dia de los Muertos is a traditional holiday that's celebrated for thousands of years tracing back to the tribes and Mexico. The first part copy discussed in sugar schools. The practice of the recipient's name of the person who has passed away has her name placed on the square of the sugar school. In their perspective, traditional returns back to Palomero Italy, figures away from sugar and religious decoration. By the 18th century, sugar was a very popular representation of the Dia de los Muertos. The second part I'll be discussing is the altar, the practice of honoring or set to honor with the memory of the ancestor. The perspective all begins from the central part of Dia de los Muertos. There are several levels to an altar on the top, usually a saint and a crucifix or saint. The candle is concealed. The candle is thought to guide the blood in the background. The light of the candle is called Sarist, represents Jesus Christ from the birth. Next, first the burial is taken or left on the altar. Then the solemn water is placed on the altar, which the thirst of the souls to retire to a long voyage. Finally, pictures of the saints are placed on the altar. The third part I'll be discussing with marigolds. The practice, marigolds are used as decoration on the altars. Marigolds are also the flowers that Dia de los Muertos. The perspective is when the spirits of the ancestors come to visit during Dia de los Muertos. These marigolds to guide spirits colors. The front discussing is El Picado. The practice book El Picado are decorations that are placed on the altar. For perspective, El Picado is a decorative craft made by cutting elaborate designs into sheets of tissue paper. The fifth part I'll be discussing is Pan de Muerto. The practice Pan de Muerto is a Pan de los Muertos as the grave site around the altar. For perspective, Pan de Muerto is a traditional sweet raw decorations that resemble the bones of the dead. We also represent the tears shed for loved ones that have passed away. Thank you for listening to my God perspective story. Dia de los Muertos.
Give them a hand of applause for those. It took a lot of effort from their part and a lot of skill, and they did an amazing job. They probably share with you too, it was not as hard as we looked at actually. Did anyone have any questions? I know we got to walk this year, it's not there. Okay. All right, so if not, we'll go ahead and pass this back over to our host.